About a quarter of a century ago, I was the judge, jury, and executioner on every New Age device that came through Southern California. That included free energy motors, healing devices, you name it. And in the course of a good year, we had examined maybe 100, 125 devices, and about 99.9% of them were either placebo, garbage, or wishful thinking, hallucination. What we did is we built a very small device, small being the size of an attaché case, that had the Lakhovsky antennas driven by a Tesla coil. The first thing I did was call up all of my sick friends, lined them up, and did experiments on them. Couldn't do that today because of FDA. We cured Tommy Herod's father, who was about to have an amputated leg, diabetic edema. He was out within about a week. He'd gotten a driver's license legally, was walking again. We cured any number of cancer patients. Believe it or not, we found that many of these had wound up in the hands of veterinarians. We published the schematics, and the veterinarians were curing cancer in animals that other vets would put to sleep. So word would get around, and the veterinarians would bring sick animals to the guy that had it, and they got well.
Lakhovsky developed a multiple wave oscillator with the idea of producing a wide spectrum of frequencies to be projected to the body, with the conviction of thus being able to restart the correct oscillatory dynamics. With this method, the idea is that the sick cells receive the original health frequencies and are healed. The oscillators, like the one owned by Bruno Sacco, were produced by Colisa, a French company, from 1931 to 1940. They were used in many hospitals all over Europe and around the world, but with the Second World War, in which Paris was invaded, they fell into oblivion, presumably for the lack of technical assistance and replacement parts. During the war, Lakhovsky fled to the United States, where he died in an accident. In the years during which the oscillators had been used, many doctors reported notable results in the cure of various diseases, including tumors. When Lakhovsky's work was slowly being rediscovered in the 1980s, the oscillators were not available on the market anymore. The original devices were lost, and besides some old pictures showing them, nobody knew how they were made and how they worked. In 2009, 3 original oscillators were discovered in Italy. These had been owned by Boris Vassilev, Genoese doctor of Bulgarian origins, who had 3 medical practices in which Lakhovsky's oscillators were used. Vassilev's niece had found the oscillators in her attic and had contacted the Centro di Ricerca Lakhovsky in Rimini. Through this research center, Bruno Sacco was able to buy 1 oscillator. A second oscillator was bought by Tony Carcellers, Bruno's Belgian associate.
The animals would respond to this much more rapidly than the human beings. My vice president many years ago in BECTEC was the astronaut Gordon Cooper. We loaned it to him. He had a 15-year-old police dog that had been part of the family forever. Dog was dragging itself around. Its hind legs weren't working. After 2 days, the dog was up, frisking around, running around the swimming pool. So Gordon would take this box wherever he went, to Washington, Houston, NASA. He was getting people out of wheelchairs. But we're not supposed to talk about this, and it took a long time to get that thing.